Welcome to Hindsight Hacking. I'm Corey Carter.
And I'm Ron Poole.
Let's get it started.
On this podcast, we've hacked hundreds of entrepreneurs' hindsight to help you, the listener, with better foresight. Now, guys, if you want to know all about what we can do to help you focus on being you, head over to gethhm.com. Keep pushing through those ups and downs that we all will have.
We're still going to have amazing conversations with amazing people. Hindsight hacking boils down to amazing conversations with some amazing people. Welcome back to another episode of Hindsight Hacking, and today's special guest, Mr. Robert Grigore. And if I could roll my R's, I would pronounce that correctly. But today, that's how we're pronouncing it, and we're going to run with it. But if you don't know Robert, you're in for a treat because he is about $1 million quantum breakthroughs. And what do I mean by that? Yes, just wait. We will get into it. And he has a team of experts hired by talented coaches, consultants to unleash their $1 million celebrity authority, because most are hidden from their ideal target market and are undercharging and over delivering. Hopefully, Ron and I are in that market right now. We might need to raise our prices. We'll figure it out soon as we get to learn more from Robert. Robert, I am super stoked to have you here. I'm super stoked to learn from you. And welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. I really love this. And for all of the audience right now, I think one thing I want to share is that it's a great intro, and really you probably don't know much about me right now. And I think probably deciding, do I really want to listen to this episode? So I'd like to share that, and before we even get started, my main goal for this is to help inspire you to generate perhaps a high ticket program or something, a method for you so that you can generate $1 million in revenue in your business this year. And the way that we teach it and we inspire our clients to follow it is that it does not take a whole lot of extra work. It's just about accessing your value and branding that properly. And then of course, meat and potatoes is selling a high ticket program. So I hope if that inspires you to watch and listen and follow along, I think $1 million per year is a nice reason to keep listening.
Absolutely. Like, I've been looking forward to this interview, and branding's like my jam. So, and we talk all about understanding your value. So we are super stoked to get into it.
Awesome.
So why don't you go ahead and kind of catch people up to speed of a little bit who you are and more about Robert.
Yeah, for sure, Ron. I got to say quickly with the branding, you branded your profile picture on Facebook when I first connected with you. I was like, how did you get your hair outside of the logo? So you got to talk about that. You have to share some of your secrets there.
I'll do it.
A little bit about me, who I am. So Robert Grigore. My professional career, I started as a celebrity psychotherapist. Very early on in my career, I should say I started in the deep end of therapy, which was male survivors of sexual abuse, and I provided a great container and a great opportunity for those males to share their story, often for the first time ever, and it was great. I loved it. I learned a lot, but as time went on, I became burnt out. They became burnt out, and they weren't able to really transform. They were hearing the same story over and over and over. I was hearing the same story over and over and over again. And I thought, man, if I keep doing this for, the next 10, 15 years, I'm going to be so depressed and so burnt out. So I found a type of therapy called EMDR. And then that was the entry point for me into becoming a real fast acting therapist, where I rebranded myself there, and I took that type of therapy and made it my own thing. So I was able to get 1 year results in about a weekend with my clients. And this is what really draws celebrities and entrepreneurs, high profile entrepreneurs who don't have 1 hour every single week for 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, 10 years to spend in talk therapy. So I want to do everything in a single weekend. So in my therapy business, that allowed me to really sell my first high ticket program. And that's really where I'm going with this is I thought, well, if I can do everything I used to do in a year in a weekend, that's got to be worth more, right? Like it's got to be something there. So I remember the first time that I first asked for my high ticket program, and that was the first one was $10,000. And the guy came in, he sat down, told me his story, and I was like, yeah, I could do that for you in a weekend. He was, really? Yeah, I can do that. And I was like, well, do you want to? He said, let's do it. So he hands me over his credit card, and guys, my hand was shaking. When I took the card, I was like, don't shake, Robert, don't shake, don't shake, don't shake. You know, look professional, look like you do, look like you've done this.
It's like, yeah, before. Pretend I've done this twice.
Yeah. And so we rang it through and everything was great. And I did this weekend and then like one really quick follow-up, and then we were done. I was like, wow, $10,000 for a weekend of my time. That was cool. Maybe I can do more. So I did, of course, right? How much can I squeeze out of this? So then I did that for $10,000, and then I sold it for $15,000. I sold it for $25,000, and then $30,000 right away. Like 3 days of my time, $30,000. It blew my mind, and I sold quite a few. I still sell that actually to this day. And then I also went into sell $100,000 package program within my therapy business. And that was a learning experience, which I won't do again the same way, but it did tell me there was a market for high ticket programs. And then from there, what I really wanted to discover for myself, or wanted to help my clients with, was, and as a therapist, I was really only able to accomplish mindset, right? And I really wanted to be able to do more for my entrepreneur clients. So I then created $1 Million Quantum Breakthroughs, and that's that.
All right. So anybody listening, if they've never heard this before, including me, they're gonna see the link to your website, milliondollarquantum.com, and they're going to still ask the question. And this, I'm going to read it from your site. What is a $1 Million Quantum Breakthrough? And on the site, it says, by quote, $1 Million Quantum Breakthrough, quote, we mean that you have had the quantum breakthrough experience of welcoming at least $1 million into your life. So please expand on that, because again, this is an interesting concept that I think, and I know Ron and I, like, we've got this goal of hitting the $1 million, for the company as like the next goal. And so this is very time appropriate for us to try to understand. And so, yeah, please expand on that a bit.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So the word quantum was carefully selected. I should say it came to me, and I'm inspired to use the word for two different reasons. One, a lot of people are familiar with the concept of quantum leaps in business context. I mean, there's an entire program for that sort of thing, right? And so when we're talking about going from, we work with clients who are high 5-figure, low 6-figure, and they've been stuck on what I call the high 5, low 6-figure financial roller coaster, where things are going well sometimes and everything's up, and then all of a sudden there's a down, and then you might be dipping into savings or not seeing clients come in, and then it goes back up again, and it's just sort of that constant. Most entrepreneurs are familiar with this, and so to go from there all the way into $1 million in a very short time period, that is considered a quantum leap. That is a quantum breakthrough where we're now operating from a whole new perspective, where we're $1 million businesses going into more. And of course, from there, you're going to want to go into 8 figures. And you nailed it, that there's a target that we want to hit. And there's a way to do that a lot faster than the traditional blood, sweat, and tears of building a business, in my opinion. So that's one aspect of the quantum. The other aspect of quantum is actually working with the quantum field, which is something that it's quite dear to my heart now. Going on the heels or on the shoulders of amazing individuals like Dr. Joe Dispenza, and really utilizing the concept and the practice of accessing the energy, if you will, that is in all things. In quantum physics, which is just fast. I'm not a quantum physicist, so don't ask me some mathematical questions and stuff. But there's a lot that we can do on the subatomic level, just with how we think, just with how we feel. And when we're in a high vibration, which is also known as flow, most people are familiar with the concept of flow. If the experience when you're really enjoying something and time just goes away, like that, you look at the clock and it's like 6 hours later, you're like, how did that happen? You're in quantum flow. And when you're when you are able to harness that experience for a long term goal, then it speeds up the time it takes for you to actually get there. So instead of spending 10 years to get there, we can do it in 1 year. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's so funny because, like Corey's right, this is like perfect timing for us, and it's crazy how things just kind of align and go in. But so much just resonated with what you were talking about, and I was understanding how either we've just got through that, or I could see that coming, or how we can utilize that. And a lot that you were talking about, if I'm right, is truly it's a mindset piece, right? Yeah. And you're helping people, like, I think, fast track that mindset quicker than them trying to figure it out on their own, or you found a key to do that. Does that sound about right?
It sounds right too, and I try to steer away, the word mindset, because usually people hear mindset, they go, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. No, I understand what you're saying. Like, I didn't want to use that word. But I was like, no, that's like where my mind is currently at. So it makes sense.
And just so you guys know too, there is no crypto investing involved in this.
There's no Forex. There's no Forex conversation after this. Like, I don't know.
No.
Continue. I think the show's over. I thought it was all about Forex. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're in the program. Once significant money is coming in, we do include guest speakers about investments, but not. Sure. We're not going to ever push anything down our clients' throats. Right. We're not pushing any kind of scheme or anything like that. It's here's some different ways of investing your now maybe $250,000 or $750,000 that you made at that point in the juncture in the program, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's really what this is about. The very first foundational piece of what we do, and this is really where I come in, this is my bread and butter, is that, remember that high ticket program I told you, my therapy business? It's very similar to that. We're going to be taking a weekend with me, and we're going to be completely wiping clear what I call success sabotaging resistances from the client. And this is stuff that every entrepreneur, really does struggle with in some level. I think last time I checked, about 90% of entrepreneurs have a fear of failure. It's a high number. Every human being alive has one of, a good handful of negative beliefs that really challenge our success. And some are, I'm not good enough. And in the entrepreneur world, it's a big piece of it. When you go on to social media, for example, and you see how some coaches are apparently living, they may or may not be actually living that way for real, but it's easy to compare oneself with that and then think, well, I'm really not good enough, or maybe I don't belong in the $1 million level, and truthfully, most people have experienced a challenge growing up at some place in time where they've brought along some sort of money, sabotaging beliefs that, I can't hang on to money, or it's hard. One of the biggest ones that I come across is I have to work really, really hard for money, right? It doesn't come easily. Success. And this is something that the wealthy business gurus, who I talk about a lot, kind of really push down people's throats. If you're not working 7 days a week in your business, 18-hour days, then you don't want it hard enough. You don't want it bad enough. So you better miss your son's baseball game if you want to be successful. I think that's complete bullshit. I don't think that's accurate. I think that people can do actually a lot more if they work smart and with the right kind of structure. And that's really the important thing about this entire conversation, is you got to be in the right structure, right? If you want to go from, where are you guys located right now?
Colorado.
So if you want to go, I'm in BC. So let's just say you want to follow, the Rocky Mountains. You want to head into British Columbia, right? You want to have a direction of where you're going, right? So you want to stay within that structure. You don't want to just start walking, let's go south for a little bit. Let's go west. Okay, we're going to go east now, back north, and then go back south. And if you're not keeping yourself aligned within that specific structure, you can put all the effort you want. You can go 7 days a week, 18-hour days. But if you're going in the wrong direction, I don't think you're going to get there.
Yeah. And that's part of the challenge with any of these entrepreneurs. And I say this with the full recognition that Ron and I were part of this group of not knowing the direction that we wanted, right? It was hard enough to figure out, we had, before we moved online, we had an in-person business and doing masterminds and different things like that we were facilitating. And then we transitioned online and we're like, we could do that. And we could do that. So we could go north and east and west. And then, we got a little ways on each one and never very far until we picked the direction, until we picked the structure. Right. And then it's like, oh, all of a sudden now we can keep going. And so how do you foster that? And I'm sure the people that you're working with the high 5 and 6 figures to get them to that 7-figure mark spot, they're the ones that did figure out the direction they wanted to go. And then you help them with that kind of mindset to really take it to the next level. Am I reading that correctly? Or do you sometimes find those?
I would say that sometimes that's the case. However, when I first meet with someone, and this is something I'll ask the audience right now, you're listening right now, you're watching right now. If you had all the money in the world, if you had all the time in the world, and if you had all the human resources to accomplish anything you want in the world, what would you want to create just because it's fun? What would you want to do? What would you bring into existence because, the world, I want the world to have this because it will be amazing. And whatever you get for that answer, that is your true north. That's your, what I call a true creational goal. And from there, now you're holding yourself within the structure. And I'll tell you what, the $1 million business is just one step in that direction. It's not the be all end all, because once you get to $1 million, you want to go to, 8 figures at that point, or 10 million. Then you want to go to, 100 million or something like that. But we all have to start somewhere. And that question, that's the very first question I ask anybody when I'm on the, I'll call with them or I'm meeting them for the first time and they're a business owner, because I know I know exactly how difficult that was. And my first structure, I was right there with you guys with how you started. I was like, I want to be a psychotherapist. That's it. That was my goal. And I thought that was going to be the path to, wealth and everything. And most, psychotherapists, if you talk to them, they'll tell you they're not rich. Turns out there's like maybe 3 or 4 that are very wealthy, and then that's about it. But they become celebrity authorities, and that's part of the draw too with the branding is. So to go back to that, you have to be in that right structure. If you're in the structure, that's fantastic. And then what happens when you're in the structure is you start to draw things to you in your business, influential people, the right connections, the right programs, the right books, the right podcasts, the right things that actually help propel you in that direction. And when there's no, what I call the success sabotaging resistances in the way of that goal, then it just comes faster and faster and faster. And, magic happens, really.
Yeah, I love that you said, create something fun and go find your life. I literally was just having this conversation with someone the other day. Like Corey and I, we created our reality. Like, yeah, we created our job, we created our business, we created our lives, we created our reality. And I was telling somebody, I go, look, if I didn't believe I could do it before, like I believe I could do it now because we just lived it, right?
Yeah.
And I also understand anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not for the elite. It's not for the rich and famous. Anybody can do it. But you have to be aligned with your true north and what drives you. And then everything will conspire to make that happen, right? What's a couple of the roadblocks? Because I'll tell you right now, you go back 2 years and someone would have told me, hey, you can just create this. I would have said, probably not. But so how do you get someone past that roadblock, especially if they're stubborn like me?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. And you're pointing to, those success sabotaging resistances right there where one of the other false premises that we come across is this idea that because I can't see it, it doesn't exist, or because I've never done it before, how can I show that I can do it now, right? So a lot of people are okay with maybe a little change, like in my therapy business, for example, I would charge $110 an hour, and then I moved it up, $120 an hour, and then up to $140, and it's very slow increments. So to tell somebody, let's say who they're just starting off on their entrepreneurial journey, to say, hey, you can leave the corporate world and you can create your own job, be your own boss, have your own schedule, and you can do it in a way that will make you, very wealthy. That is a big jump for a lot of people. And that comes from those beliefs. Who am I to be able to have that? I don't have a business degree. I don't have an MBA. So how can I be successful in business? Well, now if you can hear underneath of that story, it's I'm not good enough, right? I don't belong there. I'm insignificant. I need to be perfect or I'll fail. Those are the beliefs that block people. And if we can clear that stuff, which is actually quite easy to do, and then just hold that dream of that true north the entire time we're going together, then that person is going to make those quantum leaps faster and faster and faster, and they're going to be blown away by what they can do.
So good. All right. So I want to, hindsight hacking, we got to talk about hindsight. And so I'd love to get your take on, if you knew sooner what you know now, what would you have changed differently in regards to getting past those little things, from the 110 an hour to 120, from the 10,000 to the 20,000, right? Like how could you have made that quantum leap a little bit faster? Kind of what's, some of those, maybe one little block that you removed from somebody to help someone like Ron and I make that quantum leap that you learned along the way that you could share?
Can I give 2 answers?
Only one allowed. I'm sorry, Robert.
Only one allowed.
Of course, 2 answers.
Okay. Which one should I say? So The one that's probably the most powerful piece of advice is to really trust oneself, trust your deepest, to find that alignment. So if I could have, at the time, if I could go back in time right now and I could talk to my younger self who was, not selling a high ticket program, did not really recognize his worth. If I could help my younger self to recognize that I, in fact, could trust my vision for myself, what I really wanted to accomplish, and allow myself to just dream. Just let yourself dream what that might be, and then trust yourself to actually move in that direction. I am certain that had I done that, rather than stuck to the roadmaps, if you will, from the gurus that I followed, and really, just sort of change my life and how I operated and based that upon other people only that I looked up to a little bit. So those are the old stories that I was following. If I could just trust my own path back then, I'm certain I would have come across strategic alliances and partnerships, people that would have taken me further, faster, and if I had been open to that. But I was really stuck in my ways. There was only one way to do things. I have to do it this way. This is the way that, my college, of my psychotherapy practice, there's only this. And so I was really stuck in this little, box. I wasn't thinking outside of that. I thought coaching was, something that I didn't want to go near ever. I was like, I'm not a coach. I'm a therapist. And so by defining myself into this tiny box, I really limited myself. So had I trusted where I wanted to go, regardless of what was in my way, and just knew that I would get there, that would have taken me faster and further. And I would have been probably here sooner than that.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. That is so true. And I know this has resonated with a ton of people. Like, what are you kind of working on now? How can people get involved with you? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Well, I'll tell you. So the number one way, back in the day, I used to say, well, I'll check out my website, I got Instagram, and I got all these things. But really, what would be really fun is, if you're not driving, if you're driving, put your phone down. Don't do this until you pull over. But
once again, he knows me so well, Corey. Like,
if you
He was talking just to you.
mental note, Ron, mental note. So grab your phone, like me on Facebook and like me on LinkedIn, and just search Robert Grigore. You can type in the celebrity savior. That's my nickname. And I'll pop up. Just send me a message and say where you connected with me, where you first heard about me. And then we'll start the conversation that way. That would be really cool. And if you're doing it, do it right now. Do it right now. And I want to ask you guys, I'll tell you, of course, about my $1 Million Quantum Breakthrough program and everything. But I'm so curious about, from your perspectives, what's the golden nugget you want people to take from this show?
Well, it's ironic you said that, because we end every show with 2 golden nuggets from the show. So
nice.
We will have 2 takeaways. Yes,
you always have 2 takeaways.
Okay. Well, how about it? I'll tell you about my program, and then you guys can end the show how you normally do, because I don't want to mess with your flow.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
We are open to change, so it's all good.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong way. We're all good, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to have one more question after this, but
sure.
Ultimately, every single program, if there is some kind of change involved, there's some kind of mindset shift that has to happen. I don't care if it's $1,000 program about a podcast that we teach, or if it's something that's $100,000 within the Quantum Millionaire stuff that you teach. There's some kind of mind shift stuff that has to happen. And I just hope that people understand that, yes, we all hate to talk about that. We all don't necessarily want it to be about that because there's this negative connotation, but it is about it. And I don't know why people have such a struggle with it. And so as you talked about that at the beginning, that like, that's part of the message that stuck with me, that, and Ron and I have talked about it before, like there's mindset in every single coaching program. I don't care what you're talking about. Like every one of us that want to be better, we should just accept that there's mindset in it. And I just hope people can understand that a little bit. And then the last piece that you're talking about, trust oneself, because where you want to go, where your true north is, at the end of the day, if you trust yourself, regardless of what is in the way, you'll be able to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those phenomenal. I'll do my 2 takeaways for sure. And one was one that I've said before, which is understand your value and really understand how to put a value on your gift, right? And really understand what that means to people, because since it comes easy to you, we don't value that.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to kind of flip that switch to understand, hey, it comes easy to you because that's your gift, and it's valuable to other people because they cannot do that. Right. So that's one. But one thing that you talked about, and it kind of sums up a lot of the stuff on why people should connect with you and get involved, is so that they can fast track themselves through your learnings and other people's learnings quicker than trying to do it themselves.
Well, I really appreciate all those points, guys. I don't think I could have said it better myself. Honestly, you guys do a great job. Yeah, I think that that the mindset is an important piece, and the structure of where what you're in. You know the saying, you are the 5 people that you hang around with most, and it's really true, right? Like if you want to learn how to be a millionaire, you hang out with other millionaires. If you want to learn how to have an incredible podcast, you hang out with great podcast hosts, just like I'm doing right now. I don't have a podcast yet, but I might in the future. So here I'm learning right now. So it's really about hanging out with the right people that will help you grow. And you're absolutely right. Everything does, our thoughts do create our reality. You guys literally created your reality out of your thoughts. And it's one of the pieces I like to joke about. I think that successful entrepreneurs have to be a little crazy. We got to actually, we have to, believe in a future that doesn't exist just yet. And we need to feel it, taste it, smell it, hold it, and believe in that more than the reality that we have right now at times, right? Don't live, don't walk off a ledge or something like that. Like it's the, you are alive.
You still can't fly. You still can't fly. No matter how you think you can, you still can't fly.
Exactly. Your car, well, some people have flying cars now, but your car will not fly with you. It's but we have to kind of believe in that future vision more than the current reality. And if you align yourself with the right people that also believe in that vision, I mean, think about what you guys have right here, this partnership. Having a partnership where you can draw on each other, when one of you is a little down, the other one can be up, and you can pull each other back in. And that's a valuable thing. So when I talk about strategic alliances, I talk about strategic partnerships. That's a critical part of it. In my program, for example, I am not the expert in all of it. I am the mindset guy, and I know a lot about my own experiences with business and branding, but I have a professional, world-class speaker that teaches our clients how to speak on stage and how to actually, sell to 1 to 1,000. And I've got experts for everything. I've got a COO that will teach you all about systems and how to put. So it's really about who you're aligning yourself with. What is the crowd that you're spending your time with? It's so important.
Love that. And Ron and I mean, even from we believe a coach should have a coach. We believe it, everyone should be getting better. But don't just go have a coach to say you have a coach, right? Like make sure it aligns with the piece of your business that you are missing, right? Yeah. For whatever that situation is. And so we're very strategic on not having too many voices, but having the right voices at the right time to take us to the next level. And we encourage everyone else to do that. But my final question for you, Robert, it's a super important one because we didn't get into it early on your backstory, but tell us more about the celebrity savior. Tell us more. Why that nickname, or every aspect of what you got going on. How come that's there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's actually, it's got a couple of reasons behind it. The first one is I grew up as you hear the term latchkey kid. So that means that I spent a lot of time by myself. I was overwhelmed. I was overweight. I struggled a lot of anxiety, depression, stuff like that as a kid, and I spent a lot of time watching movies and TV shows and playing video games. But the celebrities that I really were drawn to helped me through that time period. So Robin Williams is a good example. Jim Carrey, who's still with us, although he let's not talk about him right now. There's certainly a lot of celebrities that pulled me through. Music, Linkin Park. There's so much benefit that the celebrities that helped me get through my times. I love them so much. And then as I got older and started working professionally, I started seeing them dropping off, and I actually counted the number of well-known celebrities that had committed suicide or OD'd by accident were just astounding, like 150 well-known celebrities in a single decade. And that just breaks my heart because those are the people that many of us look up to. So that was a driving force. And then what happened was, as I started getting well known in my area in Vancouver, BC, for my EMDR work, I had a high profile media celebrity see me on TV. I did a nationwide news little segment, 3 minutes on EMDR. And she called me up, said, "Hey, Robert, I need some help with this addiction. I'm having trouble getting in front of the camera. I need to take a shot, and chase it with some medication." Wow, I should totally help you for sure. Come on in. Treated her exactly the same, just like everybody else. Celebrities are just celebrities, are people. They have the same issues, slightly different issues, but they're human issues. And she comes in, I treat her the same way, tell her about, it's probably going to take at least 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe 12, depending on how bad the addiction is. And then this blew my mind. So she came in, I was this hotshot EMDR therapist, and she came in 45 minutes into the first session, which is a 60-minute session. She got up, smiled at me, straightened her dress, said, "Thank you very much." And she walked out. She walked out.
What? What?
So, here I was, this hotshot EMDR therapist, thinking that I was going to heal this celebrity. And she walked out on me before the first session was over. So I fell flat on my face. I was like, wow, I can't believe that happened. It's apparently, so it doesn't just happen in the movie, guys. It's real. It does happen.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was like, so I called her up, after 3 days or so of me wallowing in my self-pity. I can't believe this happened. I'm not I'm not good enough. I need to be perfect. I'm going to fail. Who am I to think that I'm help the celebrities? And I called her up and said, "Well, what happened?" And she said, "Well, Robert, you seem like a really nice guy and everything, but I needed help now, like right now. Later that day, I need to go on the air, and I didn't want to feel the way I was feeling." And that was really what drove the impetus for me to work faster. So, I thought, well, okay, I never got her back as a client, but that forced me into I got to do this stuff now. And it made me think there's a number of Vancouver over here is basically mini LA. So there's all kinds of, movies that are shot here. The exchange rate's better. So that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of filming here. And we have incredible scenery, just like I think you do in Colorado. I've never been, but you've got mountains and ocean and beaches. So it can really change dramatically. So there's some good sets. And that forced me right there. It's like, if somebody comes in, Leo DiCaprio or somebody needs help with something right away, I'm going to be able to help you now, not in 6 months from now, not after the movie's done. I want to help you right now. So that really drove me home. And so because of that, my clients named me the celebrity savior. And then that actually got picked up. I did an interview with a 2-time Emmy Award winning television producer who also happened to work with Oprah. And we did an interview, and then she went with that, and the rest is history. So I thought, hey, I'll take the branding. That's not bad.
It's always good when someone else brands you, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's always, A, it feels good. And 2, it means you've connected. So that's great. All right. So you've crafted this program. How do people get involved? What can they expect from this? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're interested, just like I said, connect with me on LinkedIn and we'll have a chat. And I'll ask you that question. If you had all the money in the world and all the time in the world and all the people to help you, what would you want to create? And if that, if that really feels like something we can do, we'll have a conversation about, what it would look like for you to craft a high ticket program. And something that I'll give all of your audience right now, if they just say where you met me from, I'll waive the fee. I usually charge $1,000 to craft a high ticket program with you. I'll do that for you, no charge. And the first step is that we're going to create a high ticket program. It's a blueprint. I call it the $1 Million Quantum Roadmap. And it's literally that. It's a high ticket program. And when I say high ticket, I mean minimum $25,000 all the way up to $100,000 plus for the right program. This is not a $10,000 high ticket, $25,000 minimum. And we're going to create that and with the steps involved and some of the important details you'll need. It will be enough for you to run on your own if you want. And that's my gift. I want people to have that, to just start thinking about high ticket. And if you want to hear about our program, I'll tell you about it. There is absolutely no high pressure sales tactics here. There's no fake scarcity. If you're a fit for my program and you want to give me $100,000 for it, okay, or $25,000, whatever it might be, we're going to find a spot for you. Okay, we're going to find a spot for you. But we have to be a good fit, right? We have to make sure that you'll fit within the group and everything. So that's exactly it. Hop on, we'll do a roadmap.
All right, Robert, I love it. I also love and appreciate the genuine, like, this is the program, and then the false scarcity. Like, it's one thing to, sometimes there is real scarcity, but oftentimes it is false, as you just mentioned. And so I appreciate the genuine, like, we're either a fit or we're not. Ron and I, we turn people away if they're not about impacting people and they're more about impacting a bank account, then they're not a good fit for us. Like, there's got to be, some of that genuine ability to make the world a better place. And so I love the fact that you're out there doing that. And yeah, it's high ticket and you benefit from it greatly, but more importantly, the people that you're serving benefit from it as well, and they can impact their people. So I love it. I love meeting you today. I love going and getting to know this stuff. And who knows, maybe a strategic partnership can be formed in the future. But again, thank you so much for joining us today.
I love it, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This has been an absolute pleasure. And thanks for everybody that you're listening, watching. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert. We'll talk soon.
Okay, ciao, guys.
And everybody out there, we've already done the takeaways. So rewind about 10, 15 minutes to catch the takeaways. You don't have to wait for Robert to exit this time. Like, we're here. We already did it. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of our community.
Yep, absolutely. Go create an impact.
Do you know that Hindsight Hacking Media Agency, we do all things podcast from launch? If you're already doing 10,000 downloads in a week, we handle everything. All you have to do, record it and forget it.
Guys, if you're launching a podcast, get with these guys. I could not honestly hit the charts without them.
I'm not getting paid for this, but working with both of you, the professionalism and the system that you guys had to launch the podcast, you guys killed it.
We want to help the impactors create an impact by just letting you be you and not worry about all this other crazy stuff. Connect with us. All the links will be in the show notes. See you next time. Go create an impact.